How do you make a legendary IEM more legendary? You make it evolutionary. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our audiophile reviews, and click the cute little bell to be notified when we post new content. So here I've got the Empire Ears Legend X and the newer Legend EVO. After its release in 2018, the Legend X became known as the bass king of the Empire Ears lineup. Empire uses phrases like raw and instinctive and overwhelming the auditory senses to describe it. Now, I know basshead can have a negative connotation in the world of audiophilia, but the Legend X was proof that it doesn't have to. But never content to stop innovating, Empire Ears set out to reimagine the Legend X with an all-new, built-from-the-ground-up driver, a bone conduction driver, no less. Empire Ears co-founder Jack Vang has admitted that the journey wasn't easy and that he and his team almost gave up. But Empire Ears did what it always does and pushed the boundaries until they succeeded. Empire Ears calls the Legend EVO the most immersive, pure, and stereophonic sound possible. Now, if you own the Legend X, lucky you, but you're likely wondering if the Legend EVO is worth the upgrade, or maybe you're trying to decide between purchasing the two. First, let's take a look at the specs on these two IEMs, where you'll see many similarities and one notable difference. So Empire Ears is serious about handcrafted quality, with nearly everything done in-house in their Atlanta area headquarters. Father and son founders Dean and Jack Vang have implemented stringent quality control measures at every step of the production process. Now, both the Legend X and the Legend EVO sport a simple design on shiny black acrylic shells. The Legend X has two of Empire's wingspan logos, while the Legend EVO has one wingspan and one EVO logo, which Empire Ears says marks the evolution of the company's technology. Each shell features 3 tiny vents that help to release energy that build up inside of dynamic driver IEMs. Now, the shells on the Legend EVO are a little bit bigger than on the Legend X. They do accommodate an additional driver. Some people may find the Legend EVOs to be too large for their liking. I think ear tip choice is important here. You can play around with the various sizes of Final Audio Type E silicone tips that come with both the EVO and the Legend X, or you can explore other options. But take note that you cannot use foam tips with the Legend EVO, as they are not compatible with the bone conduction driver. Something else to note, the Legend X is available as either a universal or custom IEM, which is custom molded to fit your unique ear canal shape. But there is no custom option with the Legend EVO at this time. Both IEMs have low impedance and high sensitivity, which makes them easy to drive. Both have 2 of Empire Ears' Weapon 9 subwoofers, with the Legend EVO having the updated Plus version. Both have 5 balanced armature drivers for middle and high frequencies. Where the EVO deviates is that it also has one of Empire's new Weapon 10 bone conduction drivers. As far as I know, the Legend EVO is the first IEM that uses a full-range bone conduction driver in combination with other driver types. There is one manufacturer that uses bone conduction technology with other driver types, but only for the mid and high frequencies. Bone conduction performs the job of your eardrums. Bone conduction bypasses the outer and middle ear components by sending vibrations directly through the skull to stimulate hair cells inside of your cochlea in the inner ear. Bone conduction is generally perceived to have a lower, deeper tone because the skull conducts lower frequencies more efficiently than air. So you contrast this with air conduction, whereby our eardrums convert sound waves into vibrations that travel through the eardrum to the cochlea. Sound is collected by the outer ear and directed along the ear canal into the eardrum, vibrating the bones of hearing, ossicles, in the middle ear to stimulate the hair cells inside the cochlea. This stimulation creates electrical nerve impulses that are then carried to the brain by the auditory nerve to be converted into sound. Now, the Legend EVO uses both bone and air conduction, or it has dual conduction architecture. The two Weapon 9 Plus subwoofers and 5 balanced armature drivers deliver a full-range frequency response via air conduction, while imaging, soundstage, detail retrieval, low-frequency extension, and reverb is greatly enhanced up to 35 kilohertz via bone conduction from the W10 driver. Now, a benefit of bone conduction listening devices is that they allow ambient sound in, so they're good for situational awareness. Also, because the eardrum isn't involved, they're ideal for people with hearing loss. But Empire Ears had another reason for wanting to incorporate bone conduction technology into the Legend EVO. Through bone conduction, humans can perceive ultrasonic frequencies, or beyond 20 kilohertz. Now, technically, humans can detect ultrasound up to at least 100 kilohertz, but perception generally requires direct contact of the source with the body. So in the Legend EVO, a full-range 5 Hz to 20 kHz frequency response is delivered via air conduction from the two Weapon 9 Plus subwoofers and 5 balanced armatures, while imaging, soundstage, detail retrieval, low-frequency extension, and reverb is greatly enhanced from 5 Hz up to 35 kHz via bone conduction from the Weapon 10 driver. Now, let's compare the sound in the Legend X versus the Legend EVO. Now, the first time I listened to the Legend X, I was instantly captivated by the fullness of the sound and the strength of the bass. I could feel the sub-bass in my body. At the same time, the Legend X did a great job of presenting distinct elements of songs while keeping everything cohesive. But man, that bass! My tracks were so strong, so full, so powerful, so rich and emotive. Soundstage and imaging are really good on the Legend X. I love the auditory and visceral sensation of sounds dancing around and outside of my head, and the Legend X let this happen. I didn't perceive the sound as being too far out in front of me or out to the side, but neither was it concentrated in my head. I think it could be best described as intimate, but not claustrophobic or narrow. Bass on the Legend X is deeply satisfying, but not at the expense of other frequencies. In fact, the overall sound of the Legend X is mostly balanced. There's a good amount of energy and sparkle, and maybe a subtle recessing of the mid-range. So you get a full, powerful sound with great instrument separation, engaging vocals, and lots of detail. The Legend EVO, meanwhile, is like the Legend X on steroids. I mean, I really feel my music, body and soul. Starting at the bottom, there is great sub-bass energy and power. I really perceived this, but as big as the bass is, I never felt like it was overpowering anything else. Low-frequency instruments sound clear and defined. Bass lines in many tracks are so distinct as to feel almost sculpted. The Legend EVO boasts some lower mid-range warmth that makes vocals sound intimate and emotive. At the same time, I perceived a recessing of the vocals, but it was very minimal. There is good mid-bass clarity. Treble is smooth but still detailed. Nothing sounds muddy or jumbled. Now remember that bone conduction works by vibrating the bones in your skull? Even if I had forgotten that, my experience with the Legend EVO would have reminded me. I could feel the music in my skull bones, particularly toward the back of my head. This was a unique experience. After I stopped listening, I felt a slight vibration in my head for a couple of minutes. Now, if the Legend X is the bass king at Empire Ears, then the Legend EVO is the supreme bass ruler of the universe. That Weapon 10 bone conduction driver really digs down to deliver the lowest of the low, the deepest of the deep-sounding bass. But it's not just a sound, it's a feeling. The Legend X is no slouch when it comes to bass, but the Legend EVO gives you bass that you feel in your head, body, and soul. It comes up from the ground and it falls down from above. It's everywhere. In this respect, the Legend EVO conveys a sense of power above and beyond the Legend X. Bass lines on both IEMs are quite perceptible, but perhaps a little more defined and tighter on the Legend EVO. On both the Legend EVO and the Legend X, I perceive a slight mid-range dip. It's subtle and I don't hear it on every track, but I would say this dip is slightly more pronounced in the Legend X. On both IEMs, I would categorize the highs as smooth, but I feel like they have a little more zing on the Legend EVO. For example, flute sounds a touch livelier and sweeter. Overall, I think the sound on the Legend EVO is just a little bit more airy and open. All right, so just a quick word about inserting and removing your IEMs. You want to take care not to just kind of ram them in at a straight angle. You want to come in at like a nice 45-degree angle, insert them gently, give them a twist until they feel secure, and make sure that that wire is wrapped around the back of your ear for a secure fit. And likewise, when you go to remove your IEMs, don't just pull them out. Use the same level of finesse, give them a little gentle twist if you need to, and slowly remove. Now let's talk cables. I chose to pair the Legend X with a Black Dragon IEM version 2 cable. This is a silver-plated copper cable that lends the best of what Dragon cables have to offer. Copper strands provide a full musical sound, while silver gives a boost in clarity and detail. It's a good option for a V-shaped sound signature like the Legend X. Meanwhile, I opted to pair the Legend EVO with a Silver Dragon IEM cable. Because the EVO has such prominent bass, I decided to focus on the upper frequencies. The Silver Dragon is known for being a detail lover's cable. Silver strands are adept at finding lost middle and high frequencies, which can get forgotten in a bass-heavy headphone or IEM. The Silver Dragon also enhances instrument separation, so you can really discern all there is to hear. The Silver Dragon's detailed signature is a great way to tighten up the bass and the low mids, offer more mid-range, and allow the highs to be clearer and more pronounced. But there are no hard and fast rules when it comes to cable pairings. Head on over to moon-audio.com to learn more about Dragon cables. So really, both the Legend X and the Legend EVO have a huge, powerful sound with masterful and copious bass that will please even the most die-hard bass fanatic. The thing that makes the Legend EVO stand out from other IEMs, including the Legend X, is that visceral quality of the sound and the way you experience it, both inside and outside of your body. Both IEMs have a big enough soundstage to allow all instruments to claim their space rather than being drowned out by the bass. They demonstrate prowess with genres like rock, rap, R&B, and EDM, but they also work well with genres like classical that benefit from a big soundstage, anything with a big, bold presentation. At the end of the day, the Legend EVO just has more, a clearer and more open sound, more present vocals, more wow factor. At $30.99, the Legend EVO costs $800 more than the Legend X. I think it's worth every penny, whether you're upgrading from the Legend X or just buying the EVO out of the gate. For more information about the Legend X and the Legend EVO, check out our written reviews, as well as our Empire Ears Complete Guide, which we'll link below. Feel free to leave us a comment if you have any questions. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos. Thanks so much for watching.